While tidying up my room, I came across a phone that Lucas Vincent had locked for 10 years. After unlocking it, the wallpaper was a photo of my sister. The heartfelt confession in the notes, along with the name of the girl, was also my sister's. Suddenly, I understood why the flowers were wilted that day. Because they were second-hand. As I scrolled to the bottom of the notes, everything went black, and I was transported back to when I was 18. Lucas Vincent, wearing his blue and white school uniform, was planning his confession with his friends. He casually said, "It doesn't matter if it fails. We still have Luna Blake as a backup." Later, he found me with the wilted flowers. After he finished his confession, I took a step back and humiliated him in front of everyone. "You? Even a dog wouldn't date you." I found Lucas Vincent's old phone from 10 years ago in the storage room. He had forgotten the password, and after multiple attempts, it was locked for 80,000 hours. It contained many memories of our time together. So I specifically bought a wide-mouth charger. After cleaning the room, the phone was fully charged. It showed that there were only 4 hours left before the password could be re-entered. I lay down and scrolled through my phone for a while. For hours later, I opened the old phone and instinctively entered my birthday. After the phone was locked, Lucas Vincent set all the passwords to the same one. My birthday was also the day he confessed his feelings to me when I was 18. By the time I realized it, it was too late. The 6-digit code had already been entered. Just as I thought the phone was about to lock again, feeling anxious and frustrated, the phone unlocked. The password was correct. What appeared on the screen was a photo of my sister. The screensaver was my sister. I sat up abruptly. There was a faint sense of absurdity. The password was correct. So he didn't forget the password, he intentionally locked the phone? I remember this phone had intimate photos of us and sweet chat records. But now, everything about me was empty. The photo album was filled with my sister. Her back, her profile. Her going to dance practice, her going to the cafeteria. There were many, scattered and disorganized. The chat window between Lucas Vincent and my sister was also unusually intimate and suggestive. Looking at the time, this was when I was with Lucas Vincent. They were freely discussing me, using all sorts of suggestive words. Finally, my sister said she had someone she liked and deleted Lucas Vincent. The chat window was filled with green text. Every word was filled with deep affection. This date coincides with the day Lucas Vincent locked his phone for 80,000 hours. So, it was because my sister had someone she liked and deleted him that he locked his phone himself. I suddenly remembered that my sister got divorced yesterday. Last night, Lucas Vincent came back drunk and vomited all over the floor. That's why I cleaned up today and found this phone in the storage room. So Lucas Vincent liked my sister. From high school until now. What does that make me? My chest felt tight and painful, and I couldn't breathe. My whole body was shaking. By accident, I opened the phone's notes app. The top one was a draft confession. I trembled as I tapped on it. Every single word was identical to what Lucas Vincent had said to me when he confessed his feelings. Oh no. There was one difference. The name he used in the memo. It was Chloe Blake. And my name is Luna Blake. I suddenly remembered that the flowers he gave me on the day he confessed were wilted. It turns out they were second-hand. All these years have been a huge lie. I felt like I couldn't breathe, and then everything went black, and I fainted. When I opened my eyes, I found myself back in that early winter when I was 17. The leaves were withered and yellow, and the sound of books being read filled the air. I rushed to the bathroom to splash some water on my face and clear my head. But in my haste, I didn't check the sign and ended up in the men's restroom. Just my luck, someone walked in. I had no choice but to hide in a stall, my heart pounding. Bro, are you really going to confess to the prom queen? There are so many guys after her. Then, I heard that familiar voice. Humph, should I confess or should you? I'm not backing down, why are you? It was Lucas Vincent. His casual voice drifted over, "It's okay if you fail. There's always Luna Blake as a backup." His brother immediately burst into laughter. "You're so typical. If you can't get the prom queen, you can always go for her sister, haha." But it's weird, Luna Blake and the prom queen are twins, yet they're so different, like they have different genes. Lucas Vincent snorted, "How can a country bumpkin compare to a city swan? The fact that she likes me is actually pretty annoying. But she's good at listening, so she's easy to use." He spoke with a smug tone, doing homework, waiting in line for food, buying drinks, those are all child's play. What I enjoy most is teasing her on purpose. If I look at her a few extra times or say a few extra words, she gets shy and blushes, stuttering and stammering. It's so much fun. Lucas Vincent burst out laughing, clearly showing off. It sounded especially harsh to my ears. The hand by my side clenched into a fist. I didn't step out of the stall until their voices faded away. I ran back to class with my head down. The bell rang just as I arrived. Chloe Blake came in from the door, sat down next to me, and shifted her chair a few times as if avoiding a plague. I couldn't help but glance at her a few times. Chloe Blake and I were indeed worlds apart. When my mom gave birth to twins, she didn't have enough energy, and my dad didn't have much money either. So, after discussing it with the family, they decided to raise Chloe Blake themselves, while my grandparents took care of me. So, after a month, I was taken to the countryside by my grandparents. Chloe Blake stayed in the city. I ate formula and rice porridge in the countryside. Chloe Blake was breastfed and fed baby food by my mom. When I was 3 or 4, I played in the mud every day and got sunburned. Chloe Blake had tons of princess dresses at 3 or 4, looking delicate and fair-skinned. When you compare the two, plus who took care of us and who was closer to us, I was always left in the countryside. My mom didn't like me. My grandmother also said, "Your mother doesn't want you." It wasn't until high school, when I was about to face the college entrance exam, a crucial turning point in my life, that Grandma and Grandpa had no choice but to send me to the city. When I first arrived at my new home, I liked it and didn't feel inferior. But over the years, I inevitably picked up my grandmother's shrewdness and frugality. This made my mother hate me. She belittled me and suppressed me time and again, comparing me to Chloe Blake. Chloe Blake loved dancing, so Mom and Dad scrimped and saved to enroll her in dance classes, and she worked hard to win some awards. When she stood there, she looked like a swan. And I was just an ugly duckling who couldn't stand on stage. In just 1 year, under my mom and dad's suppression and Chloe Blake's comparison, I became insecure and sensitive. But coincidentally, after the sophomore year division, Chloe Blake and I were assigned to the same class. Naturally, we ended up sitting together. From then on, my sky turned completely dark. Back then, I was naive and always felt trapped. But now, I'm Luna Blake from 15 years later. It's not my fault. It never was. Chloe Blake noticed I was staring at her and gave me a haughty glance. "What are you doing?" I asked her. "Do you know Lucas Vincent likes you?" Chloe Blake lifted her chin. "So many people like me. What's so strange about that?" So she knew. Lucas Vincent was somewhat famous at school. There are 2 types of people everyone knows at school. The first are those with exceptional academic performance. The second are those who are particularly troublesome. Lucas Vincent belonged to the latter category. When I had a crush on Lucas Vincent, I secretly wrote his name in my notebook. Chloe Blake saw it. She even asked me why I would like someone like Lucas Vincent, a troublemaker. I naturally didn't tell her the reason. But she knew I liked Lucas Vincent. However, when Lucas Vincent confessed his feelings to her and was rejected, and then started dating me, she didn't say a single word. Not even a hint. Even after we started dating, she continued to flirt with Lucas Vincent. What was she thinking at that time? Watching the show? Enjoying it secretly? Rejoicing in my misfortune? I exhaled slowly, suppressing the urge to confront her. Chloe Blake seemed to remember something and said in a condescending tone, "Oh, I forgot, you liked him, didn't you?" Her voice was loud enough for the surrounding students to hear, and they all turned to look at us. I remained calm and said, "You're mistaken. I don't like anyone. Senior year is so busy. Who has time for romance? We're not like you guys preparing for art exams. We'd be better off solving a few more problems." Chloe Blake got angry. "Luna Blake, what do you mean?" I glanced out the window. "The teacher is coming." Chloe Blake could only shut up in frustration, glaring at me fiercely. After class, it was lunchtime. As usual, Lucas Vincent would come to our class, ask me to line up for him to get lunch, chat with Chloe Blake to get closer to her, and give her a small gift. As expected, the bell rang, and Lucas Vincent was already leaning against the classroom door. After the teacher left, he walked in lazily with his hands in his pockets. He tapped my desk twice with his knuckles, smiling faintly. "Luna Blake, there's a new dish in the cafeteria. I heard it's delicious." He meant for me to get him some food. The cafeteria food was hard to get, and by the time I got to the back, there were mostly just soups left. My taste in food was completely different from Lucas Vincent's, so by the time I finished getting food for him, my favorite dishes were usually gone. Plus, I had to bring it back to him before I could go back to the cafeteria to eat, and after he finished, I had to wash his dishes. I felt like I must have been crazy back then. Just because of something so trivial, I had developed such strong feelings for him. The more I thought about it, the more annoyed I got. I didn't even give Lucas Vincent a proper look. He looked a bit tense, but since Chloe Blake was there, he didn't say anything. Chloe Blake, on the other hand, spoke up. "Luna Blake, bring me some food to the dorm. I need to talk to Lucas Vincent." She spoke in a bossy, superior tone. The look she gave me was full of challenge. She wanted to use Lucas Vincent to make me jealous and angry. I stood up, forcing a smile. "No way." After saying that, I walked past her and headed toward the cafeteria. Just then, Lucas Vincent called out to me, his tone carrying a hint of lecturing. "Luna Blake, as a younger sister, you should listen to your older sister." I couldn't help but roll my eyes. "You want me to bring him lunch?" I looked at Lucas Vincent. "Am I your mother?" Then I glanced at Chloe Blake. "Or your mom?" There were other people in the classroom, and they burst into laughter upon hearing this. Their faces turned ugly instantly. I turned around gracefully, leaving without a trace. Lucas Vincent wasn't giving up. While I was in the cafeteria, his henchman came to deliver a message. "Luke said he was waiting for you in the classroom and hoped you wouldn't make him wait too long." There was a hint of threat in his tone. I didn't even bother to respond. Who does Lucas Vincent think he is? After enjoying some fragrant braised pork and ribs, I bought a bottle of iced drink and headed back to the dormitory for a nap. Senior year is busy and stressful, so many people go to the classroom to study or solve problems during lunch break, keeping their minds highly focused. I used to do that too. But today, I just wanted to let loose. If Lucas Vincent wants to wait, let him wait. As soon as I arrived at the dormitory, I noticed Chloe Blake was there. We weren't in the same dormitory. As soon as she saw me, she looked me up and down. "Where's my lunch?" Sometimes I can't help but marvel that many people aren't mentally normal, but since they can take care of themselves, they're considered normal. Chloe Blake seemed to snap out of it. "You didn't bring me lunch?" She jumped up and shouted at me. "Luna Blake, did you not hear me ask you to bring my lunch? You didn't bring it, so what am I supposed to eat now? Are you doing this on purpose?" I shouted back even louder. "I told you I wouldn't bring it. Are you deaf or mentally impaired? Are you mentally challenged? Can't you understand what I'm saying?" At school, Chloe Blake and I hardly ever talk, even though we're desk mates. She was the prom queen, and I was just a nobody. Occasionally, she'd ask me to do something for her, and even though I didn't want to, I'd reluctantly do it. Today, she was clearly angry and wanted to teach me a lesson, but she didn't expect me to act out of character. Chloe Blake froze for a moment. You're getting bold, daring to yell at me? Do you think I'll tell Mom and Dad? They'll punish you. I shrugged indifferently. Go ahead, you baby. You. Chloe Blake pointed at me, speechless for a moment. You just wait. She glared at me angrily and slammed the door shut. I could already imagine how she'd exaggerate everything to Mom and Dad over the weekend, and they'd definitely take her side and punish me. But I wasn't the same Luna Blake who desperately wanted Mom and Dad's approval anymore. I wouldn't take it. When I got home on Friday, Chloe Blake exaggerated the story about me not bringing her lunch and told Mom and Dad. The moment I walked in the door, the remote control flew at me and hit me on the forehead. Ah! The sharp pain made me yelp. My mom pointed at me and scolded me, "You ungrateful brat. How could you not bring your sister some lunch? She's your sister. How could you let her go hungry all afternoon? I bet you're jealous that your sister can dance, so you're deliberately starving her to make her sick. At such a young age, you already have such a wicked heart. We shouldn't have brought you here in the first place. You're heartless." My father's face darkened. "You've never been with us since you were a child. Your character has been spoiled. Starting today, your weekly allowance will be halved. When you realize your mistake, it will be restored. Now, apologize to your sister." Chloe Blake looked at me smugly, waiting for me to bow my head and apologize. I lowered my hand from my forehead. "I won't apologize. You can beat me to death." No sooner had the words left my mouth than my mother rushed over and slapped me across the face. She swung her arm wide and hit me hard. I collided with the shoe cabinet beside me but forced myself not to shed a single tear. I had already anticipated this before returning home. How cruel they were now meant that this house would be in chaos later. My mother was still yelling at me, so I ran back to my bedroom and locked the door. I took out my phone from under the pillow and called my grandmother in tears. In the past, I had cut off contact with my grandmother to please my mother. Grandmother might have her flaws, but she raised me with her own hands, and she loved me more than anyone else. When the video call connected, I immediately showed her the slap mark on my face and the bruise on my forehead. "Grandma, save me. Mom and Dad want to beat me to death." I couldn't stop crying. Grandma put down what she was doing and rushed over with Grandpa. "Sweetie, don't be afraid. Grandma will come and sort this out. I'm not dead yet. How dare they treat my granddaughter like this?" For hours later, Grandma and Grandpa arrived at the door, looking furious. By then, it was already dark. My mom and dad and Chloe Blake were having dinner in the dining room, enjoying a harmonious meal. As for me, hiding in the room, I might as well not have existed. My dad opened the door, but before he could say a word, he was slapped by Grandpa. "I sent Luna here to enjoy a good life, not to be mistreated by you. Such a little girl, you just beat her without mercy. You don't deserve to be her parents." Grandma rushed toward my mom, slapped her hands together, sat down on the ground, and started wailing. "Oh my goodness, my poor Luna. Such a good girl, and now her face is all swollen from being hit. I raised her with my own hands, and she's as precious to me as my own eyes. How could you hit her? We're all the same mother's children. How can there be such a biased mother in this world?" My mother wasn't about to back down. "Are you not biased? They're both your granddaughters. Have you ever shown Chloe any kindness?" Grandma wouldn't listen and kept wailing. Neighbors opened their doors and peeked out curiously. My father, seeing the commotion, covered the slap marks on his face and hurried to close the door. The living room was in chaos for a while, with Grandma crying and Mom cursing, neither of them willing to back down. Grandpa and my dad calmed down first, each pulling their own wife away and trying to comfort them. The living room finally grew quiet. At that moment, I opened the door and timidly walked out. "Grandma, Grandpa." Grandma saw me and immediately hugged me tightly. "Luna, why didn't you tell Grandma about the injustice you suffered? It must be your mother who threatened you not to say anything, right? Grandma had always known she wasn't a good person. She bought a house and didn't let us move in with Grandpa, and she even instigated you not to contact Grandma. Grandma's heart is truly broken. My mother, seeing this, tried to argue, but my father held her back. Grandpa waved his hand dismissively. Luna is about to take the college entrance exam. Do you two as parents understand the importance of the exam? This way, your mother and I will stay here so that Luna won't become your scapegoat while we're away. You don't want her here, so after the college entrance exam, we'll take her back. My mother's voice was sharp. You want to stay here? Grandma's voice was even louder. I'm staying in my son's house. Is that not allowed? Grandpa gave my father a look. My father could only nod. That night, Grandma slept in my room with me. She gently stroked my face. Grandma knows you don't like Grandma. You want your mother's approval. But you were raised by Grandma. How could I bear to see you suffer? My nose grew sore, and I hugged Grandma. I love Grandma. In my previous life, my mother had always favored Chloe Blake, always indulging her and belittling me at every turn. For a long time, I was extremely sensitive, anxious, and couldn't sleep. Later, I gradually came to believe that my mother truly didn't like me. By the time I wanted to go back to Grandma, it was already too late. I'm sorry, Grandma. I shouldn't have stopped contacting you. She has a bad temper and many flaws, but that's okay. Her love for me is enough. Because of Grandma and Grandpa's arrival, the family fell into an odd state. Mom and Dad are deeply in love with Chloe Blake, while Grandma and Grandpa shower me with affection, as if trying to outdo each other. It's so strange it doesn't feel like a family. I don't understand why I have such an odd family. When I returned to school on the weekend, Chloe Blake must have been warned, as she didn't say a single word to me. I was actually relieved. But I didn't expect Lucas Vincent to block my way just before evening self-study. In the dimly lit alley, he stood firmly in front of me, blocking my path. His gaze fell on me, carrying a hint of pressure. Luna Blake, I don't like disobedient people. Go apologize to Chloe right now. I immediately understood. Chloe Blake had gone to him to complain. I glanced around. You like my sister, right? I'll help you chase her. Look, she even talked to you on her own today. Lucas Vincent narrowed his eyes, looking a bit confused. What do you mean? I got straight to the point. My sister hates me. The more I make her angry, the more she wants to get back at me. She knows I like you, so she'll get close to you, and then... I paused deliberately. Lucas Vincent pressed further. Then what? Then you pretend to like me, and she'll naturally do everything she can to chase after you. Lucas Vincent was a bit tempted, but when he looked at me, he hesitated. I knew he looked down on me. My sister is the prom queen. There are plenty of people who like her, but few who can get her to chase after them. All right. Lucas Vincent agreed immediately. I smiled slightly. Fun game, let's begin. On weekend evening study sessions, the teacher was pretty lax, so Lucas Vincent came to our class without any issues. Commuter students didn't have to attend evening study sessions, so there were some empty seats, and Chloe Blake sat far away from me. But Lucas Vincent sat in the empty seat behind me. I caught Chloe Blake's surprised glance out of the corner of my eye. Suddenly, Lucas Vincent tapped my back with his pen. I turned around, and he grinned as he handed me a piece of paper. It was blank. He just wanted to use this to catch Chloe Blake's attention. I played along, pretending to write a reply, then passed it back to him. Chloe Blake was clearly angry, storming over to sit down and reaching out to grab the paper. I quickly put the note in my pocket, lowered my head to study, and pretended not to see her. Behind me, Lucas Vincent whistled at Chloe Blake in a flirtatious manner. Chloe Blake was both angry and embarrassed. After evening self-study, I deliberately packed my things slowly and waited for them to leave first. Then I quietly followed behind them. On the way back to the dormitory, Chloe Blake blocked Lucas Vincent's path and angrily demanded, "What were you passing notes about? Didn't you promise you'd make Luna Blake apologize to me?" Lucas Vincent crossed his arms. "Sorry, I suddenly thought Luna Blake was pretty cute, and she's always liked me and is so obedient, so I wanted to give it a try. Chloe Blake's voice was sharp. You like her? Lucas Vincent nodded, a little. Chloe Blake looked at him in disbelief. But you said you liked me. Lucas Vincent raised an eyebrow. Did I ever say that? The scene fell silent. I was enjoying the drama from behind. Finally, Chloe Blake clenched her teeth and said, You can't like Luna Blake. Why not? Lucas Vincent feigned innocence. Because I like you. Dump Luna Blake and be with me. I didn't even have to look to know that Lucas Vincent was thrilled. He pretended to hesitate. Luna Blake did a lot to chase after me, and I'm really touched. You. Chloe Blake was completely led by him. All right, I'll chase after you too. You wait and see. Until Chloe Blake left, the smile on Lucas Vincent's lips never faded. It was clear he was over the moon. I hope he stays this happy. The next day, Chloe Blake started making moves on Lucas Vincent. I didn't even have to give him any advice. Lucas Vincent was already acting all high and mighty. Every time Chloe Blake made a move, he'd pretend to be affectionate with me while stringing her along. When Chloe Blake got angry, he'd go comfort her. This scene was exactly like their chat logs from back then. Humph. While they were playing, I buried myself in studying. In my previous life, I graduated from a teacher training college and became a high school teacher, so these concepts were second nature to me. But just to be safe, I decided to practice more. After all, this time, I didn't want to just be a high school teacher. Soon, rumors began circulating around school that the prom queen was pursuing Lucas Vincent. It was a rare day with a PE class and sunshine. I was sitting on the grass, basking in the sun and reading a book, with the light behind me. Then someone sat down behind me and started talking. I said, Our Luke is so charming. Look, even the prom queen is chasing after him. Oh, come on, what's so great about the prom queen? She can just dance a little and won't even win a prize. She's not good enough for Luke. Lucas Vincent couldn't hide his pride. Enough. Girls have thin skin. Don't say that. Chloe has been chasing me for a long time. It's not good to string her along. When it comes to confessing, it's up to the man. Meanwhile, the homeroom teacher had overheard the rumors and called Chloe Blake to the office. Chloe Blake, even though you're taking the arts exam, your academic scores are also important, you know? Facing the teacher's serious expression, Chloe Blake's face turned pale. I know, teacher. The teacher didn't say it outright, but after emphasizing the importance of the college entrance exam, she let Chloe Blake leave. After hearing Lucas Vincent and his friends boast, I had already returned from the playground. As soon as Chloe Blake came out, I pulled her aside. When she saw it was me, she immediately pushed my hand away in disgust. Luna Blake, were you the one who tattled on me? Don't think you can get away with it just because Grandma and Grandpa are here. That's my mom and dad's house, they can kick them out anytime. You too. Me. When Mom and Dad bought that house, they didn't have enough money, so they borrowed a lot from Grandma and Grandpa. At that time, Grandma and Grandpa heard that Chloe Blake was taking dance lessons and wanted to sign me up for an interest class I liked too. They thought that if Chloe Blake had it, I should have it too. Even though the interest class was far away in the countryside and it was inconvenient to pick me up. But because they bought this house, they didn't have extra money to sign me up for an interest class. The deed is indeed in Mom and Dad's names, but half of the down payment was from Grandma and Grandpa. So Mom and Dad have no right to kick Grandma and Grandpa and me out, unless you want to be shamed. I pulled you over to tell you that we've all been deceived by Lucas Vincent. Chloe Blake paused. What do you mean? Lucas Vincent told me he likes you but gave me a chance to pursue him. Then he told you he likes me and asked you to pursue him. He's deceiving both of us, trying to have his cake and eat it too. Chloe Blake thinks she's so high and mighty, but she can't stand being deceived or played with. Unfortunately, she's too stupid to realize it. I just heard that he's going to confess his feelings to you in a couple of days. After saying that, I turned and walked away. There was no need for me to give her advice. Chloe Blake was the best at hitting people where it hurt. Back when I first came to the city, I couldn't even hold my head up in front of her. At the time, I didn't understand why she was so mean to me, even though we were related by blood. Gradually, I figured it out, because Mom and Dad didn't like me, and she followed their example. But now, it doesn't matter anymore. Because I don't like them either. Soon, the time came to the moment I remembered. My birthday. It was also Chloe Blake's birthday. The wind was strong that day, and the teachers had gone to a meeting. Lucas Vincent had prepared flowers, balloons, and gifts, and was waiting downstairs at the girls' dormitory to confess his feelings to Chloe Blake. He sent someone to call Chloe Blake downstairs. Chloe Blake saw Lucas Vincent from the dormitory balcony but hesitated to come down. She sent someone down to say, "Chloe is angry." She said that last time she was called to the office, she was alone, and she thinks you're not responsible. Please tell her that I didn't know she was called to the office at the time. I was. Lucas Vincent didn't finish speaking before the person turned and left. To prove his responsibility, he stood downstairs for an hour. There were many onlookers around him. Lucas Vincent, like a male lead in a novel, shouted Chloe Blake's name loudly and recited the confession he had written in his notebook. "Chloe Blake, from the moment I first saw you, I was already captivated, but when my feelings grew deep, I became timid." I hid in the crowd, listening to him finish this heartfelt confession. The onlookers spontaneously clapped for him, cheered, and urged Chloe Blake to come down quickly. Finally, Chloe Blake slowly came down, looking arrogant. "Lucas Vincent, you think too highly of yourself. I was just playing with you. Why did you take it seriously? Someone like you, I wouldn't even want you for free. Your grades are terrible, and your character is awful. No wonder your mom and dad divorced you. If I had a son like you, I'd rather be dead." The last sentence hit Lucas Vincent right in the gut. The crowd fell silent. Lucas Vincent's face froze, and his expression turned terrifying. "Chloe Blake, say that again." Chloe Blake sneered, "I said your mom and dad divorced, so you're an orphan." Before Chloe Blake could finish, Lucas Vincent angrily threw the flowers at her face. "Chloe Blake!" He tried to charge at her but was held back by others. "Calm down, calm down." Lucas Vincent hated it when anyone mentioned his mom and dad. At that moment, he seemed ready to tear Chloe Blake to pieces. I suddenly realized that he probably didn't like Chloe Blake that much after all. Maybe what you can't have is always the best. In the end, Lucas Vincent was forcibly dragged away. Chloe Blake was also startled and hurried back to her dormitory. On the ground, the wilted bouquet remained. It was exactly the same as the one he had given me in my previous life. In my previous life, Lucas Vincent came to confess his feelings to me in the afternoon. But today, he didn't come to find me. Instead, he was publicly reprimanded for having a bad influence. I think Lucas Vincent probably won't come looking for me anymore. It's a bit of a shame. I was planning to rub salt in the wound. Today is my birthday and Chloe Blake's birthday. In the evening, we asked our teacher for permission to skip evening study hall and go home to celebrate. This time was different from before. On the table, there wasn't just the strawberry cake Chloe Blake liked, but also the mango cake I loved. Because Chloe Blake is allergic to mangoes, eating them causes blisters around her lips, so mangoes have always been strictly forbidden at home. Even though I love mangoes, and even though Chloe Blake has grown up and can control herself, the family still doesn't allow them. Before the mango cake, Grandma and Grandpa were smiling so much their faces were wrinkled. My mom didn't look very happy, but she didn't say anything. She only smiled when she saw Chloe Blake. "Chloe, come here. After today, you'll be an adult." Because we couldn't get permission to skip school, it was too rushed, so Mom and Dad can't throw you a coming-of-age party for now. Once you finish the college entrance exams, Mom and Dad will definitely throw you a grand coming-of-age ceremony. Chloe Blake snuggled between Mom and Dad, hugging them and acting spoiled. "Thank you, Dad and Mom." Seeing this, Grandma came over and pulled me aside. Let's have a coming-of-age ceremony too, at the biggest hotel. I smiled at Grandma. Okay, thank you, Grandma. A dining table, 2 cakes, 6 people. What should have been the closest family was now divided into 2 factions, each occupying one side. When it was time to make a wish, I hesitated to blow out the candles. Grandma asked me gently what was wrong. I looked at Mom and Dad across the table and at Chloe Blake. For the last time, I asked the question that had been on my mind. Dad, Mom, Sister, why do you hate me so much? Please tell me, just because it's my birthday today? These were the words I had never dared to ask in my previous life. They were also the words I had always known, but wanted to hear them say with their own mouths. My mom snorted coldly first, but before she could speak harshly, my dad coughed to interrupt her. Luna, we don't dislike you. It's just that you weren't with us when you were little. From now on, Mom and Dad will do our best to make it up to you. My mom puckered her lips. You've always been easy to raise, unlike your sister, who was always fussy and crying. I naturally paid more attention to her. Now that you're grown up, get along with your sister. Whatever she has, you'll have too. Chloe Blake spoke honestly. I always thought Mom and Dad only had me as their daughter. I didn't know we were twins. Suddenly, a younger sister appeared, trying to take Mom and Dad's love away. Who could handle that? I looked at them and smiled bitterly. They were avoiding the issue. Or rather, avoiding the mistake they made back then. I closed my eyes and spoke my wish. My wish is that I never see Dad, Mom, or my sister again. I opened my eyes and blew out the candles. Mom and Dad's faces turned pale upon hearing this. Luna Blake, what do you mean? Have we been too lenient with you lately? If it weren't for your grandmother stopping me, would I have brought you along? If you want to blame anyone, blame your grandmother. What does this have to do with me? My father also scolded me angrily. I didn't want to scold you because you're still young, but how could you make such a cruel wish? I truly regret not teaching you properly when you were young. Chloe Blake bit her lip and said nothing. Grandmother tried to speak for me, but I held her back. I looked at them and said, I wish the 3 of you a happy life together. Since the decision made back then was wrong, let's continue with that mistake. The deep-seated prejudices in human nature cannot be changed. Since we had to go back to school the next day, Chloe Blake and I had to return after her birthday. On the way back, Grandma tried to say something several times. As I approached the school gate, she finally called me back, her eyes cloudy. Luna, Grandma was wrong to insist on keeping you by my side. How can a person live without a father and mother? I went back and hugged her, choking back tears. Having Grandma and Grandpa is enough. In my past life, I also thought that life without a father and mother was impossible. But in the end, the more you want something, the less you have. Rather than stubbornly pursuing what doesn't belong to you, it's better to let go. Even if Grandma was wrong in every way back then. In my eyes, she loved me enough. In my eyes, loving me was enough. After returning to school, Chloe Blake and I became even more like strangers. Plus, she was busy preparing for the college entrance exams and had no time to pay attention to me. I continued to bury myself in my studies, but I never expected Lucas Vincent to reappear. And he brought a bouquet of beautiful, fresh flowers. It had only been a week since he had confessed his feelings to Chloe Blake and been rejected. At first, everyone treated him as a topic of conversation. But everyone was busy studying and solving problems, so after a few days, no one bothered to mention it anymore. Based on Lucas Vincent's usual personality, he would have already exploded and taught everyone who mocked him a lesson. But this time, he managed to hold back for an entire week. That was truly unusual. When Lucas Vincent cornered me, it was on the small path behind the dormitory. This time he was smarter, he didn't do it in a crowd. He stopped me but didn't say anything for a while. So I asked, is something wrong? As soon as I spoke, Lucas Vincent's eyes welled up with tears. I quickly took a couple of steps back. Something was definitely off. Lucas Vincent spoke slowly. Luna Blake, after all these years of getting to know you, I've fallen for you, but when it comes to expressing my feelings, I'm too cowardly. This confession was different. But it didn't matter. The opportunity to kick him while he was down had finally arrived. So I patiently waited for Lucas Vincent to finish. When he looked at me with anticipation, I coldly said, "You? Not even a dog would talk to you." Lucas Vincent's eyes widened in shock, as if he hadn't expected this reaction. Good, I felt satisfied. I turned to leave. But to my surprise, Lucas Vincent spoke. "Lulu." That familiar name, Lulu, came out of his mouth, filled with unspeakable emotions. In an instant, I knew that Lucas Vincent felt the same way I did. We had been reborn. The nickname Lulu was something he only started calling me after we got married. One day, I happened to meet Chloe Blake and her husband, and I heard her husband call her Lulu. At the time, I didn't think much of it, since our names had a similar sound. But now I realize it was because Lucas Vincent had mistaken me for Chloe Blake's replacement. How disgusting. My expression grew cold. Lucas Vincent stopped me. "Lulu, let me explain. There's nothing between me and Chloe Blake. We broke up after she deleted me." "What about before she deleted you?" "We were together in high school, and he locked his phone in college." "What about the 2 years in between?" Lucas Vincent just said weakly, "There's nothing between us. You have to believe me. I love you. Otherwise, why would I marry you?" I scoffed. "Then why were you drunk when she divorced you?" "Lucas Vincent, stop lying to yourself and stop disgusting me." Lucas Vincent wouldn't give up. "Lulu, I know you're just angry. You love me so much, how could you abandon me? Look, even though I'm not good at school and come from an average family, you've been secretly in love with me for years. How could you stop loving me?" Seeing him so confident, I couldn't help but laugh in anger. "Do you know why I secretly loved you?" He looked at me. "Because I mistook you for someone else. In my first year of high school, when I first came to the city, I got on the wrong bus and got lost. At the time, I didn't have a phone, didn't remember mom and dad's number, and had no change. I waited at the terminal, hoping a kind driver would take me back. But the terminal was too remote, and the buses only came once an hour. It started to get dark. I began to feel scared and started crying. Then a teenager wearing a hat and a mask came over, coughing, and asked me, "Student, do you need help?" He was wearing the same school uniform as me. I felt like I had found a lifeline. I cried uncontrollably while explaining the situation. He had a cold but still spoke hoarsely to comfort me. Then he called a taxi for me and paid the fare. He was wearing a hat and mask, so I didn't know what he looked like. But I remembered his Stewie wallet. Later, I saw Lucas Vincent use that wallet to pay, and his build and height were similar. I assumed it was him. So I kept an eye out for him. Gradually, I fell for him. After being with Lucas Vincent, during a casual conversation, I realized that Lucas Vincent wasn't that person. But by then, I liked him. So I went along with the mistake. Lucas Vincent listened, unable to believe it. A wallet? Because of a wallet? That kind of wallet sells hundreds a day in a store, and you're talking about one wallet? I interrupted him. It's not the wallet, it's the person. Unfortunately, I didn't know his name or what he looked like. Lucas Vincent, if it weren't for the misunderstanding that you were him, I wouldn't have noticed you, let alone liked you. Lucas Vincent stared at me for a long time before speaking. Are you saying that your love was something I stole? I thought about it and shook my head. No, because you didn't know I had mistaken him for someone else. But this time, I won't like you anymore. You don't deserve it. Not at all. My love was timid yet passionate. His love is fake and unworthy of mention. After I left, Lucas Vincent stood there alone for a very long time. Finally, he smiled bitterly, tears streaming down his face. The college entrance exam was approaching quickly. I performed well and felt confident about getting into a top-tier university. However, during her school exam, Chloe Blake was careless and her USB drive was damaged by other art students, resulting in poor scores. She had to return to take the college entrance exam. However, she was too far behind in her studies to catch up. On the day the college entrance exam ended, she locked herself in her room. Meanwhile, I was preparing to return to the countryside with Grandma and Grandpa. At that moment, my mother began to persuade me to stay. Shuiwei, it was Mom who was wrong before. I shouldn't have treated you that way. We're all family, there's no reason for us not to be together. My dad chimed in, we bought this house because it had 3 bedrooms, one for you and one for Chloe. I found it a bit funny. After cleaning up and charging my phone, I'll say it again, I wish the 3 of you a happy and harmonious life. I turned around and followed Grandma and Grandpa out. At first, they tried to persuade me to stay. But when they saw I wasn't budging, they gave up. As the school year approached, I heard Mom and Dad wanted Chloe Blake to repeat the year, but she chose to go to a community college instead. Mom and Dad were deeply disappointed in her and even threatened that if she didn't repeat the year, they wouldn't recognize her as their daughter. Chloe Blake retorted, like you didn't want to acknowledge Luna Blake back then? They fell silent instantly. When it was time to register for university, I sent my luggage to the school ahead of time and set off with ease. But I didn't expect everyone else had the same idea. In the end, the road from the post office to the dormitory was piled high with luggage. As I was struggling to figure out what to do, a gentle voice came from behind me. Classmate, do you need help?